These tiny babies here are Apistogramma fry, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly how to breed them step by step, even if you've never bred a single fish before. These fish are famous for their incredible colours, interesting behaviour and amazing parental care, which makes breeding them both fun and fascinating to watch. So whether you're new to fish breeding or you've tried before but want better results, this video will walk you through the entire process step by step. So let's get started. First, let's quickly talk about what Apistogrammas actually are. Apistogrammas are a South American dwarf cichlid that come from slow-moving streams and rivers in the Amazon basin. They stay relatively small, usually around 5 to 8 centimeters, which makes them perfect for smaller aquariums. Even though they're small, they have huge personalities. They're generally peaceful community fish, but during breeding they can become very territorial, especially the females guarding eggs or fry. If you're just getting started, there are a few species that are great for beginners, including Apistogramma cacatoides, Apistogramma agassizi, and Apistogramma borelli. These species are usually hardier and easier to breed, which makes them perfect for your first attempt. But before breeding them, you need to make sure the tank setup is right. For breeding Apistogrammas, you do not need a huge aquarium. In fact, a 20 to 40 litre tank is usually perfect for a pair. The most important factor is water conditions. Apistogrammas prefer softer water with a slightly acidic pH of around 6 to 6.5 and a temperature between 26 and 28 degrees Celsius. Now let's talk about decorations. Apistogrammas are cave spawners, which means the female lays eggs inside a protected hiding spot. Because of this, you'll want to add things like small caves, clay pots, coconut shells, or driftwood. These give the female safe places to spawn and protect her eggs. For substrate, fine sand works best. In the wild, they naturally sift through sand while searching for food, so sand helps them behave more naturally. Finally, use a gentle filter like a sponge filter. Strong water flow can stress the fish and may disturb eggs or fry. Once your tank is set up, it's time to choose your breeding pair. When selecting Apistogrammas for breeding, always look for healthy fish. Healthy fish will have bright, vibrant colours, active swimming behaviour, and no torn fins or signs of disease. You'll also need to make sure you have one male and one female, obviously. Males are usually larger, way more colourful, and have longer fins, especially the dorsal and tail fins. Females are usually smaller and rounder, and during breeding they often turn a bright yellow colour. When introducing them to the tank, it's best to add both fish at the same time. Then simply watch their behaviour. Some chasing is normal as they establish territory, but you want to make sure it doesn't turn into any serious aggression. Once they settle in, the next step is to trigger their breeding. In the wild, Apistogrammas usually breed during the rainy season, when fresh water flows into rivers and food becomes abundant. We can mimic these conditions very easily in an aquarium. One of the easiest ways is by doing small, regular water changes using slightly cooler water. This can simulate rainfall and encourage breeding behaviour. Another key factor is their diet. Feeding your fish high-quality live or frozen foods can make a huge difference. Some of the best options include Daphnia, live or frozen baby brine shrimp, bloodworms, and these foods are rich in protein and help the fish get into breeding condition. If everything goes well, you'll start to notice courtship behaviour, where the female displays bright colours and leads the male toward a cave. Soon after, she'll lay eggs inside it. Once the female lays her eggs, she'll usually stay inside the cave and guard them closely, while the male patrols the surrounding territory. The eggs will typically hatch in about 3 to 4 days, depending on the temperature. At first, the babies are called wigglers. They stay in the cave while they absorb their yolk sacs. A few days later, the fry will become free swimming, and this is when feeding becomes essential. At the start, fry need very tiny foods, such as infusoria, liquid fry food, or a tiny powder of fry food. After about a week, they're big enough to eat newly hatched brine shrimp, which helps them grow very quickly. One of the coolest things about Apistogrammas is their parental care. The female will often guide the fry around the tank, protecting them and leading them to food. To keep the fry healthy, make sure to maintain excellent water quality, do small, regular water changes, and feed tiny amounts multiple times a day. Patience is the key during this stage. Breeding fish doesn't always work perfectly the first time. In fact, it almost never does. So here are a few helpful tips. First, avoid keeping tank mates that might eat the eggs or fry. A dedicated breeding tank is what will work the best. Second, don't just watch for male aggression. Female aggression is important too. Sometimes females can become very protective and attack the male after spawning. If that happens, you may need to remove the male from the tank. Also, always keep the water clean and stable. Sudden changes in water conditions can cause the parents to eat the eggs. And finally, don't get discouraged if it doesn't work immediately. Fish breeding often takes a few attempts before you succeed, but once it works, it's incredibly rewarding and you will absolutely love it. And that's how you breed Apistogrammas. If you try breeding them yourself, let me know how it goes in the comments. I'd love to hear about your results. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, so that you don't miss future aquarium tips. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.